Come out to another episode of It's All Been Trek Before. This week, the Adversary. Yep, it's Deep Space Nine, the Adversary. We know you're not an adversary of ours, so why not join up with us to take on the galaxy? Become a Patreon member, patreon.com/IABD. And maybe you are our adversary. And maybe you want to hear more stuff that makes you even more adversarial. But you're probably a friend if you're here listening to my voice right now. So become a Patreon member and let's talk about the Adversary. Listen to us talk about the Adversary, Deep Space Nine. It's all been trekked before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Your regular hosts are here.
This is Steven.
And Olivia, whatever. Or Jerome, whatever you want to call me. We're here to talk about Deep Space Nine, the Adversary, the Season 3 finale. First impressions.
I'll say not super original because I feel like we hit on a lot of classic Trek tropes and sci-fi tropes. But I thought an entertaining episode. And we also get a little more knowledge about the changelings. We continue that, and including the ominous ending, which I liked as well. So yeah, I thought overall, the who's zooming who or who's the bad guy or you can't trust anyone aspect of it, I thought played fine. He's not here, I'll say it anyway. But yeah, I don't know if it hung the moon, but I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, I'm not sure. If not for the final line, I'm not sure it feels like a season finale. Whatever that means in this day and age, but yeah, overall I enjoyed it. So
interesting. I was going to disagree because I feel like I've been saying that season 4 hits the ground running. Yeah. I felt like this was the precursor to that, where we were already getting into the intense war stuff because of the aspects of paranoia. There were some key elements in this episode that are going to keep coming back over the next few seasons of anybody can be a changeling at any time. Mm-hmm. We know that. And that's really going to set part of the tone of paranoia and why things ramp up the way they ramp up and as intensely as they ramp up. When an ambassador could be a changeling, somebody that's like high ranking that you trust, that you just implicitly go with. And now you should have known that the changelings could have infiltrated Starfleet, but this is like, oh, they did. And he says we're already everywhere. Right. He says, like, this is bad. And they are. This will not be the last character that we see that's been replaced with a changeling. And I think that sets a stage where from now on we have to be suspicious of everything, and the characters are going to be suspicious of everything.
Interesting.
And it's it's rough.
I like the way it's conveyed. Yeah. Because usually, we always talk about show, not tell, but I like that it's like we see the whisper, but then we don't hear about it till later, which to me, in this instance, makes it creepier. Not that Lawrence Pressman can't pull it off, but it makes it creepier to me. And that's interesting you say that this kind of sets the paranoia thing. As somebody who loves 70s paranoia thrillers, I look forward to that.
Well, yeah, like sweeping the hallways with phaser rifles, having to do blood tests, and knowing... I caught it and I was looking for it because I was pretty sure I was right. I caught that Bashir's finger like kind of went up over the vial before. Yeah. And I was like, oh, because I'm like, it's not Eddington. I know it's not Eddington. And I caught it. I was pretty sure I remembered it was the ambassador. But yeah, I was like, oh, I see how he did it. So now you have to be extra careful even with blood tests. Like this is rough stuff.
I'll give him credit for that one. That's a part I like too, is that I kept thinking, it can't be Eddington. It can't be Eddington. And then for a brief second, I was like, is it? And then when they changed, I'm like, okay, awesome. That's cool. And then I almost feel like Lawrence Pressman as I called him the Commodore, but it's Krasinski, right? I think.
The ambassador. Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he twists his mustache that's not on his face and then zips out of the air. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think to me what this felt most tonally like from Star Trek before this is, I don't know if you remember, I'm pretty sure it was season 1 of The Next Generation, where they set up the little slug creatures taking over Admiral's bodies.
That's what I was trying to get to. Because it made me think of that, and then they just kind of let that fall.
They never followed up, which there are still people today that complain about that.
Yeah.
That want New Trek to follow up on that. They said they were going to keep invading. What happened? But it's that same instance where you cannot trust anybody, and we're going to have reveals. We're going to have characters that have been replaced. We're going to have characters that we see in 6-8 episodes and then realize they haven't been themselves for that long. Like, there will be major things that happen that I think the paranoia and suspicion are justified, but it really is very different from any Star Trek that's come before. Like, we've done an episode where we have reason to be paranoid, but that's now the tone for the rest of Deep Space Nine, is you just never know. And at least until Starfleet can get some protocols in place where they are consistently checking and consistently and even then it's not foolproof, it's just, it's rough. It's such rough stuff. This is the war. The war is full blown on. I think it blew last year's finale where the Dominion blew up a Galaxy class vessel just to show they could, luring them in the trap. I think it blew that out of the water because that was scary in the overt sense of we've got powerful warriors. We can blow up your ships whenever. This was scary in that we don't even need to do that because we're already in your house. We're already in your kitchen sleeping with your wife. We're already making the calls at Starfleet Command. Not saying the Starfleet head has been replaced or anything. They haven't. It's not that high up, but they've replaced a number of people and you just don't know who they are. And now, new tone for sure. Plus we get the beginning of Sisko being promoted, which we're still not at his final look. They still don't let him shave his head yet. I think it's the season 4 premiere. He'll finally get the shaved head and we'll be at full Sisko in his coolness, in the cool look. But yeah, we'll get to the beginning here in a second. It really excited me. And part of my excitement may have been what's coming rather than what was there. But it really excited me for things that are to come. And yeah, you feel like the paranoia, buckle in, you're in for 4 years of it.
Yeah.
The beginning, the fake out was so freaking cheesy. This is my final commander's log. For any second, did you think oh, is he leaving? Right?
No, just something in this hesitation. Obviously, I knew he wasn't leaving, but no.
What did you think it was?
I didn't think captain. That's for sure. I was like, I guess I didn't have this must be what this is about. But yeah.
I feel like I kind of spoiled it because I always say Sisko's my favorite captain, but I guess you could just assume that he's basically a captain.
Yeah, so. that is kind of where I was. So I thought so that first scene works for me. Again, it's kind of something I referenced last week where it's like we've got the team together, but they all get to come up and have their one moment with them. It's not it is a team moment, but it isn't a team moment. I guess maybe we're nitpicking, but I was like, Captain Sisko. So yeah, I didn't know that he had to officially become a captain or whatever, I guess. Because, in my head, he already was. Real quick, just since I haven't done this in a few weeks, Paramount Plus, still the worst app. Functionality.
I'm still watching on DVD, so.
Yeah, functionality is terrible. The content, phenomenal. Functionality, terrible. Anyway, or maybe it just doesn't play well with my TV and my remote. So, but anyway, enough of that.
There was definitely talk at the time, and I haven't heard it lately, so I don't know that it's still something people like. I think now they just it's a great performance, great actor, whatever. But there was definitely rumblings at the time of you finally give us a black person in charge and you don't even let him be captain until the end of season 3. It's long overdue. Why wasn't he a captain? So I think for his character story, it makes absolute sense they started as a commander and became a captain, and I love that arc for him. But I also get the rumblings of we've waited, Star Trek had been around almost 30 years. Yeah. And you finally get a black guy in charge and he's not a captain. That kind of sucks. Yeah. So I'm glad they rectified that here. So as much as the false, this is my last commander's log thing was, I think it was far worse the way they had Jake as soon as the opening scene started, this is something I've wanted to say for a long time, Dad. My God, I cannot envision an actual reality that makes sense where that's what he actually said. That felt like it was specifically for the at-home audience and not something in the moment that worked.
Absolutely, yeah. And at that point, I knew something was really, really up. I liked that O'Brien shots fired at Picard because he says... I
wrote that down too. Best captain I've ever known. Best captain.
Yeah.
What the heck?
He just became your captain. But...
Well, I mean, he's been serving with him for 3 years, but that really bothered me. And I do think Sisko's a better captain than Picard. I really do. But it still bothered me because one thing we know about O'Brien that we've seen from O'Brien is he's loyal. So, I mean, even when his other captain was a Maxwell or whatever, Bob Gunther, was crazy, O'Brien was super loyal. So for him to be so nonchalantly you're better than Picard, I wanted to slap it. That's not that scene might have been my least favorite scene in the episode because of things like that. Also, it was really hokey that Jake wanted to try champagne and Ben let him have one sip and then took it from him.
Yeah.
Look, he's like 16, 17. I understand you're protecting him, but if anything, drain half the glass and then hand it to him. Yeah, he's too old for that kind of babying.
Yeah. Yeah, and and you would think that the future they'd be more enlightened about drinking at a younger age.
Right.
I'm not saying let them get lit, but
Right.
But
one glass.
But
we know it wasn't synthehol though, synthehol or whatever, because Quark said it was real, and then it was already on Bashir's account, which I actually chuckled at that line. That was a good one.
I did like it.
It did also feel that scene. The other thing that was ham-fisted was bringing Eddington back after such a long absence and just pretending he was still always there.
I went through that same process. Like, yeah, this is okay. Welcome back, but what? Yeah,
right. Like I don't know. I think that's why they really set up Eddington to be suspicious, because he wasn't there for so long. Of course, he might be the one that's the changeling. Like, that makes sense.
That's what I thought we were planning right away, and that's, like I said, that's why I thought, oh, there's no way he can be it, because they seem to be like they're pointing an arrow at him. But then they got me almost believing them, and then, yeah. So
well, this was written by showrunner Ira Stephen Bear. At this point, he's showrunner, and Robert Hewitt Wolf, who was the executive story editor. So they're two, like, Renee Echeverria was also up there, but these are like the top guys finishing out this season. Directed by Alexander Singer, who's another regular director. Yeah, I just thought that opening scene was clunky. We needed to clean that up. And other than that, I thought the episode after that was pretty solid. It was just that opening scene. There was clunky stuff. And I get that. Like, I absolutely have probably made similar mistakes in my own writing of, I'm going to be too clever by half or too cutesy by half.
Yeah.
So I get it. It just, I don't know. So the ambassador says there's been a coup d'etat. You mentioned him already. Ambassador Krajewski, played by Lawrence Pressman, who is best known for 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah.
American Pie, 1971. He has 185 credits. So I'm shocked that 2 episodes of Dark Angel made the best known for. Also wasn't an American Pie that much. So I feel like he had better roles than those. But
yeah, he's been in a ton of things. I thought he was in a previous Trek too, but I couldn't remember. I didn't look it up. I couldn't remember.
I'm looking it up right now, as I like to do. Hang on.
I thought he was in a Next Generation, maybe? Maybe not.
No. Okay. He was not in Next Gen. He has 3 Trek credits, all for Deep Space Nine. He was in Second Skin this season.
Oh, okay.
The episode where Kira was a Cardassian.
Yeah.
He played a Cardassian in that one.
Okay. And
then he'll come back as that Cardassian character in season 5.
Interesting. Okay.
So Krajewski was a one-off. We'll never see the real Krajewski. We'll never know for sure what happened to him. Yeah. Which I feel like he was a good enough actor. Why not?
Yeah.
To have some follow-up or have him appear. We need a lot of ambassadors going forward. So it would have been nice to see him again. But
great character actor. So yeah, it would have been nice to see him back. As soon as he started talking to Cisco, when he said, "Can I have a word with you?" I was like, okay. He's like, "I'm just going to be an observer." I'm like, "You're the Commodore of this episode." But
absolutely. But Commodores aren't usually changelings.
Exactly. So he was a much more directly malevolent rather than just inept or inefficient or meddling Commodore. Yeah.
When did you start to suspect that he was a changeling? Or did you?
I didn't until he did his Snidely Whiplash and flew up into the... I mean, there might have been a little bit just in the sense, again, of like, oh, well, there's only so many people here that aren't our regular crowd. And they were trying to make it look like Eddington. So in that sense, maybe. But I don't think I took that next step to be like, okay, it's him.
Your choices were the ambassador or Eddington because everybody else was background extras.
Yeah.
We got the Bullion for a few minutes here. I don't even remember the Bullion's name. Oh, on IMDb, he's just credited as Bullion. They didn't even give him a name, which sucks. Played by Jeff Austin, best known for Mr. Mayor. 2 episodes of that, unfortunately. That Ted Danson sitcom. He only did 2 episodes, and that's what he's best known for. 1 episode of Grace and Frankie, a NASA tech in Armageddon, and a detective in LA Confidential. He has 83 credits, but Mr. Mayor was his last one. It looks like it's just like he's a character actor. He's not ever had like a real sizable role, which is too bad because I enjoyed him in this episode. I thought he did what he needed to do well.
Yeah, I did like the. Maybe I'm jumping way ahead when
I'm doing an episode of Voyager as well. Different character.
Bashir. We find out Bashir's the changeling is Bashir, and the real Bashir's in the thing. I thought that was a real nice thing. Moment.
That again, I don't want to spoil, but that again meant something to me different than what this meant. Where I'm like, oh, interesting. I wonder if it was a coincidence or if this was pre-planned, something later.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, Bashir, interesting. Because they definitely set Bashir up as the red herring. And if once we knew it was a changeling, like, I don't think anybody believed that Bashir would sabotage the Defiant. But once we knew there was a changeling among them, thinking it was Bashir made sense because we'd set him up with the engineering.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not see coming. I really thought that actually was Bashir in the Jeffries, and it was a red herring. But then later, Bashir being like, I was never in the Jeffries tube. I was like, oh, okay, that was the changeling as Bashir in that scene.
I did get weird vibes when he first came through the Jeffries tube or whatever, but I didn't connect it.
They definitely set him up as a suspect as well, and he eventually was the changeling, but he hadn't been the changeling the whole time. So multiple. Anyway, back to the beginning of the episode. Defiant's being sent on a week-long patrol, which, you've got hundreds of ships in Starfleet. Why are you pulling off your warship that's on the wormhole where the imminent threat is?
Yep.
It doesn't make sense from that perspective.
I agree.
Also, it's not... Look, this alien race they made up here, they get mentioned in a couple, like, non-canon books or comic books later or whatever, but it's never been mentioned before. I think I looked on Memory Alpha. I was reading about the species earlier because I was curious. Discovery references them in an episode, but we don't see them. So they've only been seen in, like, comic book form. We've never seen them on screen.
Okay.
It bothered me a bit that it wasn't like the Klingons or the Romulans or somebody we knew, because apparently there was a war with them. And they were, like, grateful the war was over. And that must have happened, like, pre-Next Gen. Must have been something they were all aware of. Because they talk about, we don't want to be back in a war with them. Like, so...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I guess you had to pick a species we hadn't heard of before for what they were trying to do. Because if it was the Romulans or Klingons, it would be the Enterprise team going out there, not the Defiant. So you had to pick a lesser species.
Yeah.
That has to be close to Cardassian space, or else they went some Defiant, but it still felt weird they sent the Defiant at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think from now on, Defiant needs to be reserved only for Dominion War missions, because you're the protection.
Yeah.
For the station and for Bajor.
Right.
We finally, is this the first time, or am I wrong, that we finally see Defiant's engineering room?
I think you're right, because I had the same thought. I was like, oh, this is... I found it interesting. Yeah.
It was very small. It was multi-leveled, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, like, Discovery and stuff harken more to this engineering room than they do, like, the Enterprise D engineering room. It also strikes me how small the Defiant sets are. And I understand that you've got a whole space station with a giant promenade set you cannot tear down. And Ops is a big set, too. Even though they don't use it that much, it has to stay up. The crew quarters, they can just redecorate for each individual crew person. I'm pretty sure they just have one. But that means their standing sets are very limited. On a TV show like this, they're not just going to give them another soundstage to build more standing sets. And the Defiant, anything they build is most likely going to be a standing set, so it has to be small. But at the same time, that works really well for the ship because the ship is supposed to be small. So small, like the captain shares a quarters with somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's a compact warship that's not meant to be lived on. It's meant to be taken out for missions. So it works really well, but it's so it feels so low budget in contrast to, like, the Enterprise D, which is like the biggest, grandest ship in the fleet. So it makes sense to be the difference. I don't know. It's still a little jarring to jump back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we got a thump. Did you think it was a ghost? Ghost?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that's where we were going. I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah. Kira makes a comment to Sisko after his promotion. I skipped this note. That now that you're captain, does that mean I can't argue with you anymore? And he just says, no, that just means I'm always right. Yeah. So I guess we're supposed to, because I was trying to figure this out. I guess that Major, which is Kira's rank, because she's in the Bajoran militia on Starfleet. I guess Major and Commander are the same rank. I would assume. I assume that's what that line meant, that her and Sisko were the same rank and now he's above her.
Oh, okay.
Even though he was in charge of the station.
Yeah.
We do know from future episodes that the rank above major is colonel. So I guess colonel in the Bajor militia is equal to captain.
Interesting.
But major is equal to commander. So I did not do any research to see if that lines up with certain branches of the U.S. Armed Forces, because isn't Starfleet ranks like, isn't that the Navy as they used for Starfleet?
That's what I thought, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure each military branch has a little bit different ranking system. So I bet the colonel and major are from a different, I don't know if they're Army, because I've watched enough MASH to hear colonel and major all the time. So I'm wondering, but in MASH, colonel was above major. Colonel was above major. Captain was below major.
Yeah,
because it was Captain Pierce, but but Major Houlihan and Major Burns, and then Colonel Blake and Colonel. Anyway, Colonel Potter. Theme song. We just got to the theme song in my notes. I noticed, even though Sisko was promoted before the theme song, it still said Avery Brooks as Commander Sisko in the theme song. In those days, the theme song was extremely expensive to change, and they wouldn't change it without reason. Whereas now, they will routinely take people. If Discovery, you never know what names are going to be in it. It was whoever's in the episode. Tig Notara's either there or she's not. But in those days, changing the theme song was a huge deal. I remember reading about this, that because it was filmed with models and very specific, you couldn't just swap out names. Yeah. So they do a whole revamp for season 4, but I'm sure it was a money thing. They could not afford to change it just because his rank had changed.
So Dask and Sisko are talking about our friend
Cassidy Yates.
Yes. And he says, you tell them when she gets back, I'm going to take her to the holosuite and we're going to watch the 7th game of the 1964 World Series, which I got half right. I knew the Yankees were in it, which isn't much of a guess, but they played the Cardinals. The Cardinals won that game 7-5. And then the Yankees didn't win for 13 years, didn't win a World Series for another 13 years, I should say.
So it was an important game that baseball fans would know about.
Yeah.
Okay. So as our friend Nikki Smith says, I don't follow hockey. So I didn't get the significance of that game itself, but I did get the significance of, there was a lot about the saying of the Scandinavian stuff. The significance of Jadzia knows where Cassidy is and is already needling Ben. She knows exactly where Cassidy is before they have the conversation. And Jadzia is clearly fishing for gossip to tell Kira and the others. And I enjoyed that because I do think Jadzia comes across as a little bit of a gossip hound sometimes and it delights in it. Also, we now find out that they've had 3 dates, which is new information.
Yes. Yeah.
And that they've gone very well, clearly. So I did also love that we got a mention of Sisko's dad. I don't get why it took, in a couple of days, he was so busy that he only could barely drop a note to his dad and he couldn't talk to Cassidy. But I like that we got another mention of Sisko's dad because we still haven't seen him, but that character is coming soon as a reoccurring role, and I love his dad. You're going to love him. I guarantee you're going to love him, too. So, Brock Peterson, who you'll remember from Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Yeah. The Admiral. He will now play Sisko's dad, a Creole chef in New Orleans.
Nice. That's right.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Bashir, when they find him in the Jeffries tube, O'Brien finds him in the Jeffries tube, he makes the excuse that he has a spanner in his mouth so he can't answer O'Brien. You don't just take the spanner out of your mouth and yell back. Right. I mean, we know it's a changeling later, but in the moment it's is that it's one of those excuses that's plausible, but also doesn't seem as reasonable when held up to scrutiny.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed.
I did like the discussion about the extension course and O'Brien opening it up going, pretty good for an extension course. My guess is Bashir did not take an extension course. That was part of the Changeling's Rouge.
Yeah, I agree.
O'Brien wouldn't have checked.
I thought that answer stuck with me too, as in that's just what a changeling would say or whatever. Somebody who's trying to pretend or hide would say, yeah.
I think our suspicion wasn't Eddington because he's not a lead, but I think the writing was trying to cast suspicion on Bashir.
Yeah.
The ambassador won't like it. I don't remember what that line was. I think, Eddington. Sisko tells Eddington, things go down, get the ambassador off the bridge. The ambassador won't like it. I won't let that bother me.
Yeah. I
love Eddington, but I liked that line.
Yeah, I like that conversation. I like that scene. Actually.
Me too.
Which
Me
I
too,
thought,
and it's,
Which again, I thought cut both ways as all right, are they setting him up as the bad guy or not? And I'm glad he wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it still sucks that he was absent for so much of the season.
Yeah.
But this was his 4th episode this season. I forgot he was in the Dias cast, which is only 5 episodes ago. I guess because of what we've been doing, it's hard to remember. But he'll do several episodes in the next couple of seasons. Like, this isn't it for him. He's not even done in season 4. Like, he'll be back for multiple seasons still. Also, part of that conversation, Eddington talks about you don't join Starfleet to be a scientist or security officer. You join Starfleet to be a captain. Everybody's got their ass in the captain's chair. I thought that was very Star Trek, very good. I mean, from an audience perspective, there are certainly characters that I'm sure don't aspire to it, but from an audience perspective, that makes sense.
Yes.
I also liked Sisko saying, well, why don't you transfer to command? And he's like, well, then who would guard the ambassador?
Yeah.
This was the scene I liked Eddington in. He seemed very comfortable with who he was in his role. And I'm not a big Eddington fan, but good scene.
Yeah, I really liked that whole scene.
Sisko talks about the memories of war with the Zinthi or whatever.
Yeah.
I did read on Memory Alpha that they got this alien race by combining 2 different alien races we'd already seen. One of them was the cat-like creatures from the animated series, the Kazenti.
That's what the name reminded me of, yeah.
Yes, that was one of the 2 alien races they merged together to make this name. But in the comics, I guess they showed them as dinosaurs, not as cats. But then there's a short story that they refer to them as feline-like. Yeah. So there's some, I don't know.
They're cats.
Yeah. The ship was infected with tubes that moved on their own. We saw the tube move on their own. Yeah. To me, that screamed Borg, right?
Yeah.
It did not scream Changeling because the Changeling wasn't the tubes. That wouldn't make sense.
Right. I was trying to put that back together later. Like, right?
But I guess this is just some technology we haven't seen from the Changelings.
That's the way the Changeling that's the other way they do sabotage.
Sabotage.
But I thought it was I thought it was a little kind of a cool, creepy kind of thing going on there.
It was cool. It's disappointing that I'm pretty sure that technology never comes back because I feel like you set up like tubes that can wind their own way through. You should follow up on that. Or that should be an ongoing concern.
Yeah, it seemed very, it looked very like not exactly by any means, but the way it kind of had autonomy, it was like the Doc Ock's arms.
Yes.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Absolutely. So they start doing scans. Bashir's suspected, but he's clear because he wasn't even in the conduit. What's that all about? I don't know if you noticed, but when they were scanning Bashir, Eddington's hand went to his phaser. And we hadn't seen them let Eddington on the secret, but I guess it makes sense. They would have let him in on the suspicion of Bashir.
I screwed that up, or my brain screwed that up, because when they showed him putting his hand there, I thought he was doing something like as in, they're on to me, blah, blah, blah. And then I had to play it back a second later, like, oh no, he was grabbing his phaser. Yeah, he was ready. I think
you were kind of meant to read that double thing of maybe they're on to him, but maybe he's also preparing for Bashir. But also, the reason it makes it more likely that he's preparing for Bashir is because we never see the Changelings use weapons. They have soldiers, but Odo's not the only Changeling that doesn't use weapons. We never see any of the Changelings use weapons, and I'm pretty sure that's consistent for like the rest of the series. So they just don't need them.
Yeah.
The ambassador's creepy smile and escape. I did think he waited a little too long to make the escape. I think he should have, once he realized what was going to happen, he should have just ran then instead of letting them have the tense scene.
Yeah.
There's a few things about this episode that didn't bother me in the moment, but now that we're talking about it like that I'm like, oh, okay. That was, Odo's reaction when the changelings were revealed, the camera stays on Odo's face for a minute. It was a good. Renee was great. You have to, I appreciate that the show is focused on letting Odo experience this because he's so close to it.
Yeah.
And this is a big episode for Odo, as we'll talk about in a few minutes. The Dominion clearly wants to start a war, and they start locking crewmen in the quarters. Man, I sure hope they either have decks of cards or can replicate decks of cards, because otherwise being stuck in those tiny little quarters with like 10 other people is going to be rough. They mention at this point that no changeling has ever harmed another. And then that's followed up pretty soon after by Odo's never killed or carried a weapon, but never killed anybody, which he lived through the Cardassian occupation. Like, he did all this. It makes sense, but it's also kind of shocking, and it really sets up the end to be to give the end full impact to remind us of these things. Because I don't think either of those things were new information, but it's nice to be reminded of them in the moment. Dax gets taken off the board. I mean, it makes sense, but really, Terry Farrell doesn't need less screen time.
No. Agreed.
I guess last week she got lots, but still.
Yeah, still. Never too much.
Sweeping the ship with phaser rifles. In this episode, I'm pretty sure in the future they do it different. In this episode, they're just like pulling the trigger and go right through the middle of the Jeffries tube. What's that going to accomplish?
I don't know.
The changelings like pretend to be the air?
Yeah, I kept waiting for it to land in some way, and it didn't. I mean, other than, ooh, cool, phaser going all the way down the hall. But
pretty sure in future episodes they sweep the phaser along the walls, which makes way more sense than just shooting it through empty space. Because the changeling could be hiding as a panel. They're not just going to be invisible air.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, well. Napoleon doesn't test Kira. I don't remember what that was. Oh, trust. The Bolian doesn't trust Kira.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where the paranoia really, really sets in.
Yeah. I like that.
That gets good.
All right, let's go. After you. Don't you trust me? No, I don't. I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I also respect Kira for being willing to go first. Like, it was well done. Odo and Eddington, why are they paired? They are the two security chiefs, the Starfleet and the station. They should not. You don't pair your two senior officers. You pair them each with a junior.
I agree. Though I like their exchange in that very next scene as well, where it's like, hey, can't you put yourself in their position? You're one of them. Well, I thought about it. It's just I don't understand my people all that well, which I think is a great line.
I mean, maybe I guess you could do it from an in-universe perspective that Eddington insists on staying with Odo because he's suspicious of him, even after all this time. It feels sucky after the earlier suspicion of Odo in those other episodes that he would still be suspicious this far in. But I guess that kind of makes sense. It just does not feel like you should have two such senior officers paired together.
No, I agree.
That felt like a logistical thing of we're already paying the Bolian. We can't pay two more extras.
God, how far back is it? When Siska, I'm going back to Bashir doing the testing, and this is another one of those lines. I feel like the last couple of weeks they've really been just letting the double entendres fly. Kira says, well, might as well do me next. Like, okay.
Oh, the scam. Yeah.
Easy.
I mean, at this point, Alexander is sitting and not a visitor. We're either involved or making eyes at one another.
That's true. So
that may have been a Nana improvisation directed at Alexander Sidney Gelfettel.
For some reason, and maybe I just never noticed it before, Odo's makeup to me is like, I don't remember, and I went and looked at the pictures. It's not the same, but do you remember the Everready battery family, the weird Duracell battery family? This is back in was it the 90s?
Back in the 90s.
This might have been the 80s.
I'm Googling right now. The Puttermans? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember the Puttermans.
Okay.
94 to 96.
Okay, so it was around this time. So maybe that's why his makeup looks not the same, but just it reminded me that was the first time that had happened. So anyway, I think I'm all caught up now because we already talked about I don't say sabotage. Yeah. I say sabotage because there's a lot of saboteur. First I said I don't say saboteur. Saboteur. I say saboteur, but then they finally said sabotage.
I do think we should have seen Odo's makeup evolve over the seasons. Because he talks about, well, just because I can't impersonate a human doesn't mean other changelings can't.
Right.
And it's like, really, you haven't gotten any better? Like, I would think, like, he was maybe trying to imitate Cardassians and Bajorans before. Now he'd be trying to imitate Bajorans and humans. I think he should get pretty decent at Bajorans at this point.
Yeah.
Or we should see it, like, getting better. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
So we had the team split up, which of course adds to the paranoia. We had Eddington and Odo split up. We had Kira and the Bolian split up. And then we had Sisko bleeding, which I guess I buy one of those things. I buy that as one of those things that in retrospect seems obvious of let's just see if we can separate blood. But in the moment is like just occurring to them because they're new to this. The changeling's still a new threat.
Yeah. And the everyone separating is very much a horror movie trope, which my alternate episode was there's 3 changelings, and my other alternate episode is just being like the thing, which it definitely had elements of that. And again, once you split the people up, it's like, okay, well now they're going to be picked off, and then one of the people he killed, he becomes, or they've killed, because that's who they become.
And now Voyager's the horror show. Voyager leads.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Deep Space Nine is more suspense.
This one definitely had elements. I think, like you said, it's more of a paranoia thing, but
yes.
But the thing is definitely about paranoia too. Yeah,
Voyager's horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Star Trek definitely went darker after Next Gen, and I can easily rank those into or sort those into suspense versus horror.
Yeah, and I like the correction because space is scary. It should be.
I don't know if you noticed, but when Bashir was taking blood, he took the Bolians and he barely took anything. There was a tiny bit in the vial, and they took Kira's. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why does Kira lose all that blood? The Bolian loses none.
That's a good question because I do know when he took the Bolians, like I looked super close, like I was waiting to see it move. So I don't know if that was just kind of like making everyone move forward, and then with Kira, like, you don't have to. It's it's not her,
right? Well, and also like because he took like 10 times more blood from her than the Bolian.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Then we had the Eddington is the changeling. No, wait, it's Bashir. Bashir opened. Very convenient that Bashir opens the door at that point, going, "Let me out."
I like
have to be at that point.
I like that quick thing, but yeah, it's cool.
They set the self-destruct. You got to, right? Like, it's as much as it pains. I can see Kira doesn't argue it because what else are you gonna do? You can't let your ship start a war. Like, you have to blow yourselves up. That's.
I don't know if trope's even the right word, but obviously a place we've been to before on Trek. But in different ways, different bluffs, different situations.
Yeah. I do feel like we got closer to actually doing it this time. And one of my alternate episodes, I had two, but one of them was Sisko gets everybody else off the ship and goes off in a blaze of glory. I don't hope that because I love Sisko, and I think his best days are ahead. But if they weren't going to let Avery Brooks help develop the character, which they did do after this point, if not before, if they were just going to waste him the way they have for a lot of these first few seasons, this would have been such a cool opening for him to go out, or closing for him to go out in a blaze of glory. Yeah. And then Kira's in charge next season, or they bring in Shelby or some Starfleet person. Ooh, Shelby, that would have been interesting. You kill Sisko and then you send Shelby out to replace him. That would have been cool. And then Shelby and Kira batting heads, that would have been neat.
There you go.
If the Sisko stuff that's coming up wasn't some of my favorite stuff that Trek ever does, I would be much more excited about that possibility. But that sounds cool. So there's 2 Odos in engineering. Yeah. I do enjoy O'Brien's like, I don't have time for this, just keep the phaser out on both, which there's not any way to do, and the guy keeps shifting back and forth. Even the whole time he's standing up gives plenty of time for the false Odo to rush him.
And, again, now that's a classic trope, going all the way back to the enemy within, and then also in Whom Gods Destroy. I'm proud I pulled those 2 from TOS.
And the Undiscovered Country.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I feel like I'm missing, there's another one at least, somewhere along the line.
Oh,
the 2 Picards, though, I don't think they were enemies.
No, that was a time travel thing.
Yeah.
How do they both know about the scenario after O'Brien and Odo went kayaking and he had lunch, but he didn't have a fork? They're like, the changeling was like, oh, that's easy. I know that scenario. And he didn't have a fork. And I was like, wait, but how would you know he didn't have a fork? Because the changeling been on the station in some other form for a long time. Yeah. But why were they watching Odo? I guess if they were going to spy on anyone, they'd be spying on Odo. So that's how they know
watching Odo,
situation.
Oh, I can see that.
But it still felt really like, man, I don't need that stakeout episode of the changing. Or would have been interesting maybe if they'd set up all season that they just had somebody in the background. Like if this actor had been in the background in like 12 different episodes this season, that would have been a cool reveal. But every time you saw Odo, he was back there.
Yep.
But Odo's so vigilant, he would have noticed. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we had the fight where Odo actually kills another changeling.
Yeah.
It didn't quite make sense to me why you even do the whisper if literally 2 or 3 minutes of screen time later you're going to reveal what he whispered.
Yeah. I still like it, but I get what you're saying.
The ambassador's missing. There was never any coup d'etat. That was all a lie. And then we find out the whisper was, you're too late. Oh, the other note I had was when the changeling becomes a changeling in regular form, he's wearing the same dress that the female changeling always wears. Like, I get why he looks like her, but I guess they all wear dresses whenever they're in a humanoid form. I don't know. It felt odd because that changeling was so male-coded. Although changelings don't have gender coding, so,
Do you think if we hear that the final line, if we hear it in the moment, that you can end the episode there?
Mm-hmm.
I never meant to harm you.
Yes.
I agree. You know what? I agree too. I think that might be even more chilling. Like, there's no happy wrap up. We're out.
That could be a logistical thing where you have to end the season with Captain Sisko because he's delayed.
Sure.
I did think it was a little bit odd, and this may be the producers kind of showing their hand a little bit about what's to come. But there was no to be continued tacked on. Best of Both Worlds Part 1, to be continued. Mm-hmm. Even stupid Mark Twain episode Part 1, Times Arrow, to be continued. No to be continued. And I think that might be because the DS9 writers kept always trying to convince the network, these are all standalone episodes. We're not serialized now. If you have to be continued, you basically promise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the season 2 premiere has plenty to do with this because everything to come has to do with this. Mm-hmm. But it's not a direct, we're looking for the people in Starfleet that are been replaced. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's a Klingon heavy. The Way of the Warrior. I told you, it's called The Way of the Warrior. It's 2 hours. It's amazing. It has tons of Klingons, including multiple Klingons you've seen before and are familiar with. So, very excited for The Way of the Warrior. It's such a great 2-hour episode. Definitely needed to be 2 hours. It's rare. It aired on one night as a single event. And I don't think Star Trek did that before except for pilots. Any other notes before we get to... my other alternate episode was The Changeling actually succeeds, starting the war.
Oh, yeah.
Starfleet. And then the next season the beginning is Starfleet has to try to end this and fix it before the invasion happens. And there's a ticking clock on the invasion. Or maybe the invasion happens while they're dealing with it. There's ways you could go with that. Really ramp up the stakes quickly.
Yeah.
I approve.
No notes. No more notes for me. Sorry.
No more notes. And you already did your alternate, didn't you?
Yep. The Thing.
Who was your shady character for the Adversary?
Jadrinsky, the Changeling, the other Changeling, the dead Changeling.
I also Changeling for sure. I mean, what else? Who else could it possibly be? Yeah. That's obvious. Do want to mention the episode title sucks. It's another one that's generic. There's lots of episodes with adversaries.
Yeah.
We don't need the adversary.
Yeah.
Who was your annoyance in the adversary?
I have the Changeling for that, and I don't really like that choice.
Oh, really?
But I'm struggling to come up with another one.
I mean, I went Eddington because I'm sorry, Eddington. Other than that one scene with Sisko, is just an annoying character.
You know what? I'm having a drink with Eddington, so I'm
really.
I'm looking at his only. Maybe I'm just looking at him and ignoring his warts, but I think I'm having a drink with him. I mean,
I'm having a drink with Sisko because he just got promoted to captain and he needs to celebrate. And he definitely needs to celebrate after all this one now.
Yeah.
Ranking the episode.
Ooh.
I know we're kind of torn. Let's just, for recency's sake, start with last week, Facets. Above or below Facets?
I would go above Facets.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Above that's Life Support, the Bareil dying. I would go above that.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yep.
Okay. Above that is Destiny.
I think I'd go above that too.
Yeah, me too. Above that's Shakar. So now we're real recent.
Oh, yeah. I think we're getting close. I think I'm still above.
Me too. One more time, because the one above that is Family Business, which was Quark going home and dealing with his mother. I think that's where we stop.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, is that the
Andrea Martin?
Andrea Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Andrea Martin.
Andrea Martin, and that was such a good episode.
It was, yeah.
That means this is ranked number 4. Above Family Business, above the Ferengi episode, the only thing we have is the 2-part with Tane. The die is cast an improbable cause with the Garrick and Tane starring the Dominion stuff. So that was a really strong 2-parter. Kind of surprised they did it 5 and 6 episodes before the end of the season, but it makes sense. I'm not surprised to see those end up on top.
Yeah.
So I will mention while I'm looking at the rankings that season 2's top episode was Blood Oath, which was a Klingon episode. And when I count my top 5 favorite Klingon episodes of Star Trek, they're all in Deep Space Nine. None of them are Next Gen. Blood Oath is probably one of the top 5, but Way of the Warrior is also one of the top 5. Wow. So I think I think we've got some good Klingon stuff. There's a lot of Klingon stuff in the last 4 seasons of DS9. We're going to see so much more Klingons.
Yeah.
Gowron's in a bunch of episodes.
Okay.
Obviously, Worf is joining the cast here.
Yeah, I love all the memes online about Gowron now that I get them, now that I understand them.
Well, we've still got some... I think Gowron has better plot arcs in Deep Space Nine. There's some serious Gowron plot arcs coming up. Cool. I don't think he's inconsistent with his next-gen portrayal.
Yeah.
But we're going to see Gowron... I mean, remember, and I think we should keep this in mind, that Picard put Gowron in the Chancellor chair. And it wasn't because Gowron was a great leader. It was lesser of two evils. It was him and Duras, right?
That's right, yeah.
But
rest in peace.
But he's not a great leader, and that's going to come back.
Yeah.
So we're also going to see the old Klingon that survived again. We're also going to meet one of my favorite Klingons ever, but I don't think he's in the Way of the Warrior yet. He's coming up. His name's Martok, and he's awesome. Okay. So and he's in a ton of episodes as well. So we have not finished introducing reoccurring characters. We still have a few more we haven't met yet for the series. So
look forward. 4 more seasons, right?
So much more to look forward to.
Yeah.
I think seasons 4 through 7 are head and shoulders above seasons 1 through 3, and I've enjoyed seasons 1 through 3 a lot. Yeah. But if we're naming my top 10 favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine, we've only seen 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway. Blood Oath and Duet, which were our number ones for seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Are probably the only 2 in my top 10 that we've seen.
That we've seen so far.
Yeah, the Dias Cast and Probable Cause, as much as I like them, they don't make my top 10.
Yeah.
So Blood Oath and Duet. Maybe The Wire, probably not. That was our second place for season 2. We'll see. So many.
I thought The Wire was the best show of all time. Not letting that one go.
It's a little overrated. No, I like The Wire, but you know what? You know the episode where Garrick had the wire in his brain.
Yeah.
Anyway. Next week we'll be breaking down Deep Space Nine season 3 in its entirety. Until then, live long,
whoever you are, and prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?